Hello and welcome to This Contains Garlic. You are here with your hosts Georgia Garlic and
Mark Garlic.
we are back for episode 15. Can you believe it, Mark? We've made it 15 weeks.
Well, we did the 1 week we did a double drop, so I think we're only at 14 weeks.
Do you know what?
Nice.
It's a bit sad, isn't it, Mark? Starting it with being factually correct always. In fact, I was just saying to Mark, it's been 15 weeks, or should we not say 15 weeks? We should say 14 weeks of solid
episodes.
midweek arguments between the two of us, trying to set this bloody thing up, and also
I always seem to forget how to push all the right buttons.
Did you
to
say
make the
we
my
or
microphone.
I?
Yeah, me. I take full responsibility. I always seem to forget the processes to.
Yeah, I mean, it's
getting the
quite easy when you're not like a sound engineer, Mark. We obviously still don't have a jingle. Good start.
But I have been looking into the jingle and went on a couple royalty-free sites and no good.
No good.
I'm
yeah,
thinking I might just
why
make.
would you have a royalty
Actually, just
free?
make our own jingle.
No, please don't do that. You have no sense of understanding of creativity, Mark. There is one thing.
How dare you? Watch me. I put some bars together.
You've put some bars. Mark once downloaded an app on his phone, a DJ app, and then suddenly thought he was professional enough to buy a Pioneer setup.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's only
we've got the sound effects of rain today. Finally, rain in the UK.
I could definitely get a jingle going, and I'm going to.
You're still on the jingle.
I'm going to. Don't worry.
No, please don't, because I just don't really trust your music abilities and also your sense of style when it comes to it. Like,
My
when have you
sense
ever
of
been?
Style.
Well, like, I don't really
Who
think
could dance better between you and me? Exactly.
Mark, I did modern dance as a child. My parents have got many photos
You've got
of
two
me.
left feet, bruv.
Two left feet. Yeah, when I'm shuffling at a rave, do you know what I mean? I've got two left feet. But when I'm actually dancing a modern dance, I was okay, actually.
What is
Mark.
that, just rolling on the floor?
No, that's not modern dance, Mark. It's not rolling.
What is modern dance then?
Interpreting
your feelings.
I wouldn't know the definition between of what modern dance was. I never did ballet as a child. It wasn't really a me thing.
Yeah.
But what the fuck have you done, Mark?
Well, what would you like to know? And I can.
Well, no,
fill
it's
you
not
in.
the fact of what your whole life has been, but you clearly haven't had any
I was
dance
a thespian growing up. I was in all the school plays, so
And what, did you dance?
No, none of the roles that we were given dancing. But if there was dancing, I probably would have busted
a Chris Brown.
Yeah, a little. You can't say Chris Brown because he's beaten up women.
Well, I can,
You
because
can't
he's
say
still in the
Michael
fucking
Jackson
charts and
because
nobody really cares about that, clearly. Like, just like the rest of things going on in the world, nobody generally cares that much, do they? That's why they're still fucking happening and everybody's getting away with it.
Yeah.
So Chris Brown's still in the charts, babes. He's just released a new album. How can we not mention Chris Brown, the
all
breezy?
people he beat up Rihanna as well.
How did you pronounce her
She's
name?
made Rihanna.
Do you think it's Rihanna?
Sorry,
No.
Rihanna.
Rihanna!
No, she made bangers, but because she got beaten up, she hasn't made any bangers since. I don't think. So.
No, I think that's a big statement. I think she did make bangers after she was beaten. Maybe she hasn't.
She needs to.
But then she's also a billionaire running a really successful fashion empire.
Do you think she's banged out though? Do you reckon she's like, I'm just over it. No more pun to replay for me.
Banged out. It's probably not the right words to use. She's had a child, Mark. When can people just retire? Don't you wish sometimes you could bloody retire?
No, I want to work until the day I die.
Okay, I think I married the wrong person then, because I was expecting, as I said, to spend
No,
my
because
retirement
you
on a
get-
fucking sunbed somewhere. Now you're saying I have to
Yeah,
work
but
till
you
the day I
have
die.
some level of
Hope I die
fulfillment.
tomorrow now. Do you know what I mean?
You have to have some level of fulfillment, and you get some fulfillment from having. That's why some people retire, but then they still consult. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, but that's when you've made it. Do you know what I mean? And then you just think, oh, I'm just going to do a little bit of a tinkle on the side. Do you know what I mean?
Tinkle.
Most of the time, those people, I hate to say it, have got bank balances that look really good. Do you know what I mean?
Phone numbers.
Like, correct. They look 10 out of 10. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
They've paid every cent of their way the whole way through their life, or probably embezzled some money here, there, and everywhere, and they're going off to the Grand Cayman Islands to pick it up.
George and I watched a documentary the other day on.
Was it the other day?
It was about 2 weeks ago on offshore bank accounts and the UK's role in basically owning 50% of the world's wealth in offshore bank accounts in tax havens.
Yeah, people think that Britain, like, you know, when people like shit themselves with like HMRC and like, you know, everything, it seems like it's really strict. And I think for the general population it is. It's like this unbearable thing that we've all got to abide by.
It's strict for the 1%,
but fucking
for
hell,
the 99%, and then the 1% get to
we are money laundering
move that money
101.
around, yeah.
Like,
there's always a British person in the background doing something shady in every backroom
not just
and
British,
shady
though.
deal.
There's many people, like, for example, let's talk
and
about...
Americans.
What about Zimbabweans?
Yeah, I mean, when the Zimbabweans were doing the shady deals, who was facilitating and moving money around for the Zimbabweans? British people.
Yeah, I know, that's
who
why
owns
Mugabe
the
was
vast
waving with the
majority
Queen.
of the land where the central business district of Harare is built to some random white dude.
Who do you think should be on the front of a note then? Because currently it's the Queen. Well, not always the Queen, is there? I wouldn't know. I hardly have cash out these days.
Carl Pilkington should be on.
Do you know what? If we were to ever have a dinner and I could invite anybody, you know, they always say like, could you, like, what celebrities would you invite? Carl Pilkington. I'm not going to say this because you'd get really offended, but like, not by looks, because obviously you're beautiful, Mark, but like, I genuinely would have wanted to be married to Carl Pilkington, but only in his role of idiot abroad, just because I wish, I don't know, I've never met him in person. I've never been that weird person to like hang outside places he's been in, and plus he's a very quiet celeb, but I wonder if he's like that in person.
What if it's not put on? Or is it
yeah,
just
like
natural?
I'd be really disappointed.
If you could have, apart from Carl Pilkington, who else would you have on?
That's quite a hard question, actually.
I'd
I'd probably have somebody that could like offer me something.
Dead or alive, you can have anybody.
Oh, I don't really
That's not a family member.
I'd want Piggy Chops, our dead dog, to come back. That's so fucking
Yeah, that would
sad.
be quite cute. Yeah.
Probably then you'd want your brother to come back, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd probably say...
And then Robert Mugabe, so we could beat him up.
Why? Well, you want Robert Mugabe? What the fuck would you do? Just sit there asleep in a chair, bro?
Yeah, beat him up.
I don't know who else I had. I've always said Carl Pilkington. I think Margot Robbie. She's like my... I don't really get like... Girl, you know,
she's
people
out of
can
all the people, Margot Robbie definitely.
Because she just comes across quite... She's just really hot. She is hot. And I don't think you can say that she's not hot.
Yeah, but like you're meant to, you're at a dinner.
Like who was your girl crush growing up? I never really had crushes.
Girl crush growing up.
Oh, here
I don't even.
Okay. You don't know now. No. Suddenly, you've never seen a woman before.
Not until I met you, Bam.
You'd never had a little wank over a magazine.
Probably quite a few times, but we had upgraded since magazines. We were.
Oh, okay. So now you need to tell me your internet searches.
We were.
What, a VHM or whatever they're
Daniel
called.
Dessau's dad's porn collection. Do you know what I mean? Shout out to DC. But
that's absolutely gross. I'm sorry. Like I get it, it's maybe different with boys.
You know, everybody matures at different ages. And then I went round to Daniel's house, and he was like, "Do you want to see something cool?" And I was like, "Okay." And then he
want to see a pair of tits?
Yeah, it was pretty intense, you know. And there's no turning back once you've.
I guess like our self for women, like porn and like all of that sexual shit is so like well hidden for so many years, and I think probably only in the last like couple of years like it's become a little bit more normal to like talk about. But I do think like for women with girls growing up, like all you could really look at was that calendar your parents bought you every Christmas that was like
very one-sided,
like a fucking boy band, like one of the boy bands. I can't even remember who I had. Not that I fancied any of them, but I had S Club 7 one year.
Didn't your sister fancy
Aragon from Lord of the Rings? And the other day, if you've got Amazon Prime, there's a new what's it called? Is it a movie or is it a series? It's the one with the 13 children that went into the cave in Thailand and got stuck.
Yeah, in Thailand.
It was actually quite a good one. But anyway, Aragon plays in it. And Mark was like, oh my God, that's Aragon from Lord of the Rings. So I sent my sister a photo of what he looks like now. And I don't think she was far too impressed.
If you're claustrophobic, probably not the movie for you because a lot of the scenes are filmed of like dudes squeezing through.
Oh, you can't even understand
it.
And
that's
underwater.
Another thing I want to bring up just randomly.
Squeezing.
Is, like people that actively go out of their way to like squeeze themselves in like rock formations. Do you know what I mean? Where
like this is enjoyable.
Go off the track and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna stick my entire body between these two rocks.
Well, anyway, the
Like,
story of the movie pretty much highlights there's these
Gee.
guys, the guys that legitimately take them out of the cave are just random guys with, with professional
two British,
jobs.
obviously British people.
That,
Do you know what I mean?
no, one of them was American. The anaesthetist wasn't the guy that.
No, they were all British.
Well, anyway, let's just give away the whole movie now. But well, you know
Spoiler
the story
alert!
probably if you read.
Spoiler alert!
So it's you don't
Yeah,
need to
people
do things
get very
like that.
upset when
But
you
it was
spoil
just normal
things.
guys that could like navigate caves really well underwater.
that did it
It's pretty crazy.
recreationally.
Yeah,
Like,
I just
who-
like doing that in my spare time.
Yeah, that's weird.
What do you like doing in your spare time, Mark? Annoying me.
Yeah, annoying you is definitely up
Not
there.
hanging up the laundry properly, another one.
Oh my
Second of
days.
all
Sorry,
would be
just not-
leaving packets open so things go stale. You've done that with the like, time and time again. You bloody well just leave packets open and everything's dried and it pisses me off. Do you know what I mean? With cost of living, got to go back to the fucking supermarket because you've dried all the food out.
What did I dry out the last time?
The cheese in the fridge. Do you know what I mean? You never put fucking covering on it. You never think about the fact that obviously cheese dries out, especially
let me
if it's
ask
pre-sliced.
you a quick question. When you ate it, did you die?
Well, I didn't eat it.
Yeah.
You ate
did.
it, probably.
Yeah, well, I'm not dead, so...
It's not the fact I need to die, it's whether I want to enjoy something for what I've paid for, Mark. Do you know what I mean? And then you go and ruin it for me.
A bit of stiffness
Misery.
is never a bad thing.
Why do I have to put up with
Everybody
this?
needs a bit of stiffness in their life.
Oh, God. Mark says that whilst raising his eyebrows.
Yeah.
Should we get on to today's topic?
If we have to.
If we have to.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't.
Maybe we won't.
We're going to just talk about, like, just doing it, really, today. Just doing
do
everything. Just fucking doing everything.
Please, I'm going to interrupt you. Have you seen the video of Shia LaBeouf screaming, just do it, over and over again?
No, because I don't read fucking Reddit threads like you do, finding videos of random Americans
funny.
screaming on the internet. Mark's got this fascination of, I don't know, maybe you listen to this and you also play video games, but like I'm getting to the point where I just can't stand looking at Mark do it. Mark doesn't do it on like a PlayStation, which thank God he wouldn't be getting access to anyway. He does it on his phone and he's just there like fucking horizontal phone, like fucking take... I don't know what it is, it just
Call of
annoys
Duty,
me.
just really,
I know
really,
I know I can be
you know,
contradictory.
and then equally my wife is also just scrolling, going, "Oh, look at this holiday! Oh,
yeah,
look at
that
this!
I'll pay for you to
look
go
at
on,
this
Mark, and
diamond
enjoy."
ring this girl's got. Let's go and just scroll randomly and.
Well, actually, that's such a lie. You've just picked up on two factors, okay? Didn't say, look at this diamond ring this girl's got. I said that's a very large ring, and having seen a lot of our clients
boring. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know
At
what's
least I'm
not
having
boring?
fun.
Killing fucking, fucking aliens, clearly. Do you know what I mean? And bloody, constantly being angry online and shooting
Angry?
shit.
Nobody's being angry.
Well, you're killing things on your video games.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're angry, though.
So, look at this holiday we can go on that you can also enjoy because your wife will fucking happily pay for you to join her. If not, your wife will be going on a solo holiday and absolutely
blissful.
perfectly fine with that.
Blissful.
Oh, Mark, you can't even stop talking to me for more than 5 minutes.
I have to escort you everywhere you go when you leave the house.
That's absolute bullshit. You had to escort me every time that we
Please,
were
can
in
you come
bloody
with me
Cape
to-
Town. Because fucking you made me move to Africa, which is really unsafe.
Yeah, I forced
do you know
you.
what I
I
mean?
put a gun to your head and forced you.
I asked you to fuck off the other day and you still didn't. Do you know what I mean? And here we are on episode 15.
Yeah, well, we made it this far.
Yeah, this far into podcasting. Who knows how much further in the marriage? Okay. Oh dear, Mark doesn't like it when I say that, even though he can give it and can't take it.
Oh, that's rich coming from you, Georgia.
How is that rich? You can't take it, you get really upset. You're
If
getting
I
upset
disagree
now.
with you, you go, "How dare you? That's so rude. I can't believe you would speak
You say,
to
I
me
didn't
like
say that, and then I prove you
And
wong.
I would just say to you, I disagree with you. How dare you say
Yeah,
that?
well, okay, Mark.
How
sure.
dare you?
You know what? It's always funny when men think they don't do anything wrong, when yet they're the pests of our lives. Do you know what I mean? You are the pest. I could spray you with the fly spray.
But you never keep the same energy. When we first got together,
Yeah,
what
honeymoon
I
phase,
mean?
bro. Then I realised how annoying you really were. You want to go at this? We'll go. Do you know what I mean? We're going to go. And you know what? Totally normal. We spend far too much time together. So the fact that you actually think I can't be annoyed at you, or there's things that you
How
can't...
could you be annoyed at me, honestly?
Oh my God.
Have you seen
Oh
me?
my God.
Do you know what I
Everything,
mean?
your breathing, your fucking... everything annoys me.
Yeah,
Like,
but I think
then that's
you're
you.
just constantly annoyed
Yes.
regardless.
And
So
then that,
it's like the girl that cried wolf. Do you know what I mean? If you're constantly annoyed, then it's just
then
like
you're the
a
problem.
well then don't know what to do, Georgia.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
don't know
gonna
what
be
to do.
myself, you know. And
Right,
if
this
I
is what I
annoy
mean, but
you,
you're never
then
accepting of what if I want to be
how
myself
do
and not get annoyed by certain things, leaving packets open, number
Georgia? I've
one.
never known you to never be annoyed at anything.
Yeah, well,
It's
because
like a
that's,
shark. If it stops swimming, it dies. If you stopped being annoyed, I think
you
you
know, you've
would
used that
internally
analogy like
combust.
literally like 3 times in a podcast.
Yeah, I
Like it's
know,
kind
it's
of
my
get
joke.
boring now,
It's
isn't
my
it?
joke.
What? Your joke? How
Yeah.
is it a joke? If the shark stops swimming, it's dead.
Yeah.
What if it's just waiting?
Well, they don't wait.
Well, they could. They could be watching.
They swim around.
Yeah, but not constantly swimming.
Always.
Always moving.
Always. Yeah.
Does a
always.
shark always move?
Always.
I don't think you're very certain on your sea
Yeah,
life. There.
always.
Are you
That's
actually
how they-
fairly certain on the fact that a shark?
I'm 95% certain.
95. You know what was also annoying? The fact that you've mixed fucking fruit squash in a water bottle that's reusable and now it's
Oh,
going to smell
Jesus,
funny
just-
and now you're drinking from it.
Yeah, so boring.
Do you know what? You are boring, yeah. Right, we're going to actually get onto the topic today of just getting it done. I think it's kind of like we do a bit of a polar change here. We've gone from having a bit of a rant to being really quite serious with our jobs. I guess the saying "just do it" came from whether or not we're actually legally allowed to use this saying. Who knows?
Yeah.
Obviously came from Nike. I call it Nike. What do other people call it?
Nike.
Nike. I'm not really sure which is right or wrong, but with the fact of obviously, you know, just getting it done and, you know, getting into the swing of things and actually, you know, removing doubts with action and actually actioning something to reap the reward of motivation and becoming motivated and keeping consistent with things. And I think with our jobs and the job that we do, more often not, we see individuals who constantly put off things, and we're kind of like, okay, there's a mix of human psychology there, obviously, but there comes to a point where, like, if you really want to see that change that you keep on beating yourself up about or you're not happy with, then just doing it is the way of just getting anything started and to be done. What's your thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it sounds as simple as it reads on the label. Like, there needs to be some level of action. And just starting, it's like when you get a new job. It's always going to be a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning when you go in and you don't really know what you're doing. You don't really know the people that you're working with, and it's a feeling out process. And the only way that you gain confidence within that process is by practicing and replicating and just doing it.
Yeah, but like I also think, like, if we're talking specifics in the sense of the biggest thing we see is people that might not be happy with their the way they look or feel, and it only really makes the situation worse when you constantly like don't do things that you tell yourself you're going to do. And I think some brains work differently. Like, say for example, you're a human that has a slightly more like ADHD brain. Maybe you don't have ADHD, but you know, it's sporadic, your thoughts and stuff like that. Writing a list saying I'm going to do this and that, blah blah, and then not really achieving things, like, doesn't make you feel great. It's the same with, like, you know, saying, right, we've said this again, the start, you know, the fresh start of it, start on Monday, I need to do this, and then constantly letting yourself down technically fuels that cycle where you feel like you can never break it. And if anything, every time that you say I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to action this, the situation just becomes worse and worse and worse, and you end up being a lot more upset and disappointed in yourself, when actually it really just takes, you know, getting a plan in place and just doing it. But obviously,
I guess you need to have a plan in place. That's the main thing. Is like, once to be as successful as possible, things need to be quantifiable, so you know that what you're doing is moving you closer or further away from your goal. It takes all the guessing out of it, and it allows you to then set up a plan and structure to be able to then achieve and do things that are going to move you closer to your goal. So without having a plan or any structure, then or the goal that you're seeking or what you're trying to achieve is not quantifiable, then it becomes really hard to get things done, because you might not know what to do, or you might not know what order to do certain things in.
I think, and also it comes down to a number of things. If you're talking something like, more often than not, it could be like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, and you don't go to the gym. The biggest like a barrier to entry with people in that factor. Now, don't get me wrong, lots of people train at home. It's the same thing as being motivated to train at home. But it's that thing of like, the reason you don't necessarily want to go to the gym is because you've never really had a plan in place that you can then reap rewards from. So whether or not that makes you feel better, there is not one person that I know that has not felt better after just an exercise session.
But I guess if you are going in and you don't have a plan, or you don't really know what to do, then the chances of you being able to get a really successful session in is drastically reduced. And then if you're not seeing any benefit or not seeing any progress, and you're going in and using the cross trainer for 45 minutes, even though you are moving your body, like after a while, just doing the same thing or a few things
it's always cardio
repetitively, or you could be fill in the blanks, doing the same movements over and over again. It just can get a bit bland and boring. So then doing it then becomes a chore.
I think also it comes down to like, we're very good at picking what's easy for us, because why would we pick the hard route? Do you know what I mean? If we can see the easier option. So like I see a lot of this when we go to the gym, and there's people that obviously, because we're very regular in there, we see obviously pretty much the same people, and there's people that go in and you can clearly tell they don't know what they're doing and they don't enjoy it. They'll do the same, they'll take something that's the easiest option, which might be just like a fixed range of motion machine that does a few shoulder presses, and then they'll just rest there and sit on their phone and scroll. That repetitive cycle is going to make you go, I don't really want to go to the gym, because what's the point?
Because you're not getting that much gain out of it. And Leo, like Georgia said, everything in nature travels the path of least resistance. So if you look at anything on a macro or micro scale, we're always wanting to take the easy route. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the reality
sometimes it's
like
a good
everything
thing,
in nature always goes the path of
I don't
least
see why
resistance.
we have to like go through constantly with every aspect of our lives like the hardest option in any way.
No, not saying that, but if given a choice, A or B, generally there's going to be a larger percentage that
but as you just said, you don't know whether that's like good or bad. Do you know what I mean? Like some things it is fine. Do you know what I mean? You want an easy meal to prepare. There's you know what I mean? You don't want some hard fucking meal that you've got to put together with some squirts on the side and a fucking phone.
But then it's like, then that could then be extrapolated to eating chicken tenders and never eating vegetables, and like having a very nutrient poor diet because it's just the easiest option. Do you know what I mean? Like there needs to be...
No, but I'm saying that an easy meal can still be something that's very nutritionally balanced, but you don't need to go through the trenches to make it.
No, obviously not.
If you just asked yourself the question.
But I'm just saying that there's also, it can be taken in two different ways. But there needs to be some level, not resistance, but there needs to be some level of challenge to a certain degree, and being uncomfortable to a certain degree, because
I think
that's
in
where
training,
growth happens.
to be quite honest with you. Direct to training, you don't necessarily need resistance in your nutrition. If anything, you need the opposite in understanding.
No, but like there will be resistance in the sense that, like, if you're on a calorie controlled diet, you might have to make certain sacrifices, which you could also be classed as resistance when it comes to choices, because you're like, actually, I don't want to do that, but I'm going to be accountable to my goals, so I'm going to pick X. It's not your first choice, but it's some level of cognitive decision which can be classified as resistance or a change or fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I mean, but I think like if you're coming to like actually just like start with like...
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. Like, no, you shouldn't be like trying to eat Michelin starred chef food. like 11 courses and all that kind of stuff and make it super
Quite obvious that you don't cook, isn't it?
No, but like I've had like when I did some bodybuilding preps and stuff like that, and guys were like, you need to eat 250 grams of trout for breakfast, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
you could get that pre-cooked. Fucking Marks and
do you know what I
Spencer's do a
mean?
nice.
But it's
smoked
like
one.
it's an effort. Like
It's not.
It is effort.
That isn't though, because that to me is convenience. That's
Okay,
just the
so
fact you
when
don't
you're
like
waking-
smoked
when you're
trout for
waking up at
breakfast.
5
Yeah, you don't want
and
smoked trout for breakfast. That's
Who
your
wants to
resistance.
eat smoked trout for breakfast?
Some people do. I used to do loads of nutritional plans for people that liked oily fish. Like I like smoked salmon. I wouldn't necessarily always go to the other fishes, but there are some people that
Is
love
trout
it.
even oily? I thought trout was like whitefish,
No,
not so much like.
right. Okay.
I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
A trout is the same colour as a salmon, Mark.
Is it?
Oh dear. I think that you need to refresh your sea life. The
My
same as
seafood.
sharks always constantly swimming.
There's only trout fishing in the eastern.
But
portions
the
of-
resistance on that, you being told to eat 200 grams of trout for breakfast,
Yeah, not only
is the
that,
fact
it
that
was
you
a whole
didn't like
variety of
trout.
things.
It's not the fact that you couldn't make that. You could make that. You
Yeah.
don't have to make it. It's really fucking easy
Yeah,
to
but
make that.
what I'm trying to get at is that can be a little bit too, if it's too removed from your personal taste, too removed from your food availability, socioeconomic
But would you not say that, like-
situations, and all that kind of stuff, then that is too much resistance. Do you know what I mean? There needs to be things taken into place that account for your personal choices and tastes, so that there's, like you said, less resistance, but then is always a level of sacrifice.
Yeah, but
to
like there's a lot of
certain
the
degree.
time we find that so many people make it much harder for themselves because that's what's kind of been sold to us, because
that's
it's
true.
If people overcomplicate things, that's when help needs to come in. Now I'm not saying that like our jobs are pointless. Our jobs are very purposeful for many people, but I'm saying when professionals or people who class themselves under brackets of leaders or industry, in the industry, overcomplicate the process, it makes you think you need to do a lot more than is actually necessary. And it's the same with like some people think that like training is easy and they need to make it harder, for example, and it's like, well, actually it's not to do with necessarily the program that you're following. It's about the application of how hard you're making it for yourself. And that comes down to, again, making it easier for yourself. So it's kind of contradictory. It's like somebody says, oh, I'm feeling my program's easier. Obviously for us, we're like, great. Do you know what I mean? Try harder. Do you know what I mean? Lift more weights, because then you're going to realize that it's not about doing all the extras. It's about doing like the quality rather than the quantity, and doing it to a level where you're going to obviously be seeing results and feeling like it isn't actually that easy.
I feel like people,
but saying it's this is easy,
feel
but
like
then effectively
that's
making it easier for yourself.
I think that's a compensation. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but I think that's a compensation for always wanting to do more, in quotation marks, and make it more difficult and harder, is an overcompensation for the fact that people know deep down inside that they're not making or applying themselves to the fullest of
so they fall onto one
so
category
they're
to
like,
kind of beat themselves
I
up
need to
about
make it harder, but it's like we shouldn't make it harder if you can't, if you're struggling to get to the grasp with the easy stuff. But it's the feel I need to do more, because deep down inside we know that there are gaps missing, and that there's trying to be an overcompensation for the fact that maybe certain things don't want to be done, or maybe they're just not a priority.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, like if I say about like making things harder for myself, like I definitely don't make my life easy. Do you know what I mean? If anything, I take it the opposite end, sometimes probably too much. Do you know what I mean? But if I was to take myself back to when I was very, very overweight and I was do you know what I mean? I decided and made the decision to action my, of getting, healthier to some degree. I did make it harder for myself, because at that time it was like sold to you that you had to do so much to get anywhere. And I took myself to like a number of like residential boot camps and like camps, like fat camps, what you used to call them, and all of that. To like literally the day would be like wake up fucking 5:30, get screamed at by some army sergeant, but get fed. Then you got to go to a hit session at fucking 6. If you weren't there, they'd make you do like 1,000 burpees, and then you'd go to breakfast, so you'd have like a fucking quarter of a piece of toast and quarter of an egg, and that was meant to sustain you for the next 12
but that's
hours.
just ignorance, though. I think like the structures like that are clearly
No, listen to me, Mark.
to...
It's not ignorance on every part. It's the fact of how things are sold to those that are overweight, that feel like they are vulnerable in a situation where they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but
so,
I feel like
weight
you're
loss,
also setting those people up to fail.
No, Mark, you've got to understand there is profit to be made in these things.
No,
We're
I
not
appreciate
oblivious
that.
to it. It does help some people greatly. It doesn't help a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've always said that. But
Yeah, but you can still kind of... I know I'm interrupting you, but
oh God, do you know what I mean?
you can still
That's another
achieve the
thing that
same
annoys
result
me.
by doing it in a better fashion.
Yes, but if you're of the mentality, and this is when we're going to argue like the last time,
Yeah.
where you haven't done this journey, okay, where the only option is for you to be feeling at a time where you don't know anything. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
You don't know anything barring
Yeah, but that's
fat
why you're
burners.
paying people to tell you something, though.
But
aren't
at the
you?
time where you just listen, because you
okay, I'm
know
sorry, I'm
what, this
just
is going to
asking.
piss me off. When you are sat in a position where you can sit there on your smug little chair over there and go, oh yeah, but it's just ignorance of all of these people. No, unfortunately, this is the
No,
cycle.
ignorance, not from the people
God, you're
doing
talking
it.
again.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to clarify my point. It's not the ignorance of the people that are doing it. They know no better. But it's the ignorance of the people,
Yeah,
the
they don't know any
professionals
better either.
well, they should. They're professionals.
No, not necessarily. If you're seeing results, it doesn't matter. A lot of people don't necessarily. If you see a result in a short period of time, that's their job done. That's what they sell, extreme fat loss. You've got to understand what the game of the game is with a lot of these places. It's to go there and it's to lose fucking weight. For some people, it's just for a temporary look. Maybe it's a wedding. Maybe it's just fitting into a dress for an event or whatever the fuck. And for others, you know, yes, it doesn't necessarily work for long-term weight loss. But when somebody doesn't know better and they're starting off and they're vulnerable to all of this information being fed to them, and other people or parties around them think the best option for them is to go into something extreme, it makes just doing it that much more harder.
Yeah,
because
horrible.
you can't understand how you would ever be able to mimic
Yeah.
this into your normal daily life.
Exactly.
And I've said it before, like the first ever residential boot camp I went to, I lost like 21 pounds in 6 days, and I literally piled it all on the weekend that I literally went home. And that
What
was
did
like, what a
you,
waste of a few £1,000 because it
What
obviously
did you
wasn't
eat when
cheap.
you got home?
Probably a lot. Do you know what I mean? I was,
Like
you
pizza,
know,
Domino's,
Domino's,
chicken
yeah, family
tenders,
size.
garlic
Fucking chicken
dip,
tenders.
garlic
I
dip,
don't. You like chicken tenders. I'm not
I
that
do.
much of a fan of them.
chicken wings.
I don't think I really used to eat these things when I wasn't with you. To be quite honest with you.
I've broadened your horizons, haven't I?
What, chicken tenders?
Yeah, and how to eat.
I've broadened your bloody horizons with fucking
You
food.
have, definitely, for sure.
You still do put ketchup all over everything.
I do.
Offensive. I will literally cook something because I have been taught to cook very, very well.
George's cooking is very good.
And it's a thing that I actually maybe part-time in my head would love to have a job in, but like food. But, well, I do, but the nutritional side of it, not the making
You
of
do
it.
all
But
all the meal stuff.
yeah, but it's not necessarily physically like doing food together, is it?
You did all the recipe designs and all the
Yeah, but
yada,
that's
yada,
not
yada.
physical food, Mark. I'm not
Oh,
smelling
you
it,
mean
am I? I'm
actually
looking
like cooking
at it.
to sell it to
Well, my
patrons?
dream would be to own a delicatessens with a till that's one of the old school ones and just print receipts
What
to
would you
people
sell
all
in the
day and gift wrap
delicatessen?
cheese.
What would you sell in the
Depends on the area of which in which my delicatessen was. Ideally, I'd have a farm with it as well.
Ooh.
So probably somewhere in the countryside. It doesn't necessarily have to be the UK. I'm not really sure where else can. Maybe imagine having an Italian farm or something. You know what I mean?
A
Like,
vineyard.
no, I don't drink wine, so why?
Ciao. Ciao bella.
Okay, there are Italian wines, but most of the time you'd refer to that either in South Africa or France, potentially, are more vineyards. Maybe that's wrong. I think olive trees is more Italian.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. Yeah, a bit of olive oil.
But like I would cook,
stampions,
I would spend a lot of time cooking Mark like these extravagant, nice dinners and stuff, and he'd literally just put ketchup all over it.
bang it on there.
Disgusting. Do you know what I mean? You'd never do that
I
in
love
front of my
ketchup.
grandparents, though, would you?
Yeah, of course I would.
No,
I
you
get away
wouldn't.
with murder. Jeff and Margaret love me. She even makes me a cake every time I see her. So
Yeah.
my brownie
That's
points
compensating,
are
isn't it?
my brownie points are up there.
What with your? Yeah, it's because that compensation and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm the most loved son-in-law out of.
There
out
is
of all
only
of them.
one.
Exactly. So
there's only 2 grandchildren on that side.
yeah,
So it's not
until
many
your
people
sister
to choose
steps
from.
up and brings
Trust me. Yeah, when my sister brings through, you're out the door. Just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that as well because we're both the youngest children, and yeah, we both haven't been the most favoured always. So
Wow. Your grandparents have never cooked Alex.
Yeah, because he doesn't live in the fucking country, Mark. Do you know what I
care.
mean? You're there like a little leach.
I don't care.
Hi, Margaret. Can you make me a carrot cake?
I don't ask. I get given.
I think she just feels obliged now. Maybe you just you'd look at her differently if not.
I give her the little wink.
Okay.
Little
you're winking at my grandma. Is this the
a
porn
little
you
wink and
used
then
to like
the nod
listening?
when she hands over the cake. I give her the little.
Maybe you like older women, Mark,
how's
because
it
you're with a
eating?
younger one now. Potentially, you do like somebody as grey as you.
Fresh.
You want them fresh,
Yeah, I like fresh.
straight out the sea.
Straight out. Past noon.
Yeah, you picked me fresh, didn't you?
21.
I don't think I even was 21 then.
Oh, even better. No, that sounds creepy.
Do you know what? You really don't help yourself. Just you're fucking you're gonna have the police round the door in this moment.
Yeah, and I'd say look inwards, at the royal family before you start pointing fingers.
I do think the royal family is now past its sell-by date. I do think, though, I love the Queen because I think... No, I don't. To be honest with you, I've never really given a fuck about the whole of the royal family at all. I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm not one of those British patriots. I think it's nice.
No, I'm not going to lie. I felt quite emotional during her jubilee.
Well, the planes went over the aeroplanes.
So cute.
She looked so cute. Do you know what I mean? This is the thing. But there are people that can be twats throughout their life. And then, just because they're old, people are like, oh, but they're so old. You know what I mean? Not that the Queen's been a twat, but there's plenty of people in the family that have been twats, or twats, shall we say. But I do think that if the Queen passes away, which statistically, it would be in the next, say, 10 years max, do you know what I mean? That would be there's not many people that have lived past 105.
Oh, I think the oldest person is 123.
Yeah, I think that's in a town in
Well, I don't know if that's true though. You never know.
You just never fucking know. What if they don't have a birth certificate?
Yeah, that I would imagine that.
Well,
that would be quite statistic.
The Queen's 95 now. Yeah. I reckon that she's probably got. Oh, I don't want to put I'm not going to put a lifeline on her. That's a bit horrible. But when she passes, I really just can't see how this royal family is going to stick together. I was heavily invested in the Prince Andrew thing because, wow, do you know what I mean? How much you can get away with.
We've discussed this before. I don't think, like you said, he actively seeks underage women.
No, I don't think he's a pedo.
I just think that he obviously likes women in general, full stop, and he was a very easy mark.
He was people used to say he was very, very dumb, and he was the first perfect person to just literally leech onto to pretend to get something for the UK or to do something, and then some large charitable...
He used to facilitate a lot of meetings and deals for other people, so, obviously people witnessed his weakness, then gave him a couple of drinks or whatever, and then
he didn't start sweating, obviously.
Yeah, and then you just say to an attractive young woman, depending on whatever age they are, go and sit on this dude's lap.
No, I just think I'm going to interrupt you there because I was obviously brought up in the UK, and I also, for a long period of my life, was in quite privileged areas to live in, okay? And as women or girls growing up, and also with the job that I have done, I have worked with a lot of women who get paid for sexual acts or services. Not prostitution, more high-end escorts.
Yeah.
Not only that, I know of friends who have been in situations with incredibly wealthy or substantially well-known in the sense of wealth, have been in environments in which they get up to fucking shenanigans, let's just say that.
Really weird stuff.
I'll give you an example. Here's a bit. A girl that I'm very good friends with once, she was dating a guy who used to meet up, a house of 12 of them in Chelsea. So obviously like mega house on a Monday and a Wednesday evening. And it was a group of high net worth individuals, both women and men. And they would sit in white sheets, okay? And they would slaughter a turkey over your naked body, and then they would stick the feathers to your body and do chanting, and then think that's normal. And then the text that my friend sent me saying, is this normal? This is what's just happened. I was like, SOS, what the fuck? Like literally.
But people are so blinded by the fact
Prince
that
Andrew's
that's
a prime
happening,
example. Not to say he didn't indulge in the fact that he was mates with Epstein, and Epstein did not kill himself. There's a conspiracy of the day.
I think,
obviously.
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory.
He was hanging around with people for his own little ego. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't necessarily hanging around with people.
He was hanging around people to gather information.
To get more. Do you know what I mean?
He was a secret, he was like a spy.
He was
who inherited it from Ghislaine's father, who was also killed by the Mossad.
Yeah, I know. In fact, my mum used to work for Ghislaine's
So, going around, why do you think he hung around billionaires and all these famous people? It's to facilitate information and blackmail people.
Yeah, and then get large donations from terrorists.
How easy would it be to get guys together on an island, give them loads of drugs and drink, and then just say, hey, go and sit on that man's lap.
Like, I used to deal with men.
And then you take a photograph of it, and then you go, oh, by the way, Steve, that chick was 14 years old.
Yeah, but not only that, I used to be a nightclub girl. I used to be a girl that used to take guys to tables in the sense of look like you were told to look like a fucking slut, literally, pretty much.
Literally, and you're 16 years old.
No, I wasn't that young anyway, and that is very illegal if you are doing that. But it was the same thing. It's not necessarily the woman that's the women are put in very awkward positions because there is a lot of money on the table with these things. You know you're going to get tipped fucking hugely. You know you're going to get money, and when you are sometimes you think, okay, well, fine, I'll do that. But if you're men used to expect it. Do you know what I mean? Sit on my lap and then I'll give you more money. You know what I mean? Or do this, do that. Sad. And so it is very sad. And I used to deal with male individuals as clients who thoroughly liked to enjoy the use of escorts and all that came with it.
So many.
So sad though.
So many.
Even though these guys were high net worth individuals and could probably have sourced some kind of relationship.
It got to the point, I think, in our careers where that if you didn't find out something completely and utterly bonkers about some of the people that you either trained or you knew, then you'd like, oh, you're normal?
Yeah. Yeah, what?
You haven't done an orgy or
a Scientologist.
palmed your wife out so that she could shag 5 dudes so you can go on a private jet.
Oh God, yeah, or received a Chanel handbag once a week for sucking dicks of
exactly. So you're like, oh, you're normal? Wow. That's impressive.
It's kind of fucked. There was one time that Mark didn't realise. Okay, so Mark, you can imagine for this is when obviously I was his partner at this time, but Mark used to train women that I don't really think that good looking myself. I think prettiness like Margot Robbie is my vibe, but these girls were fake tits, fake lips, fake everything. Look, I like a fake eyelash and a bit of Botox, but they were on extremes. And there was this one time when one of Mark's clients brought in, who was she? One of the most wanted women.
Oh yeah, she was. Oh God, yeah, she was wanted because she kidnapped the president of Italy's lawyer.
lawyer because
and
she
then blackmailed him, and then was put into some random woman was made at a Italian prime minister, or not a prime minister, but a minister out of nowhere. The dude was like, yeah, you can be a minister and go into parliament and do all this crazy stuff. And then her and a couple of mates kidnapped a bunch of people and held them ransom.
Oh my God.
And
Mark's there busy training now, do you know what I mean?
yeah, you're
Like,
like,
we were
oh,
like, you know, like when you
please
actually...
don't kidnap me.
You're like, you probably enjoy it. Her breasts were the size of fucking Uranus, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just clapped is the only way to describe them.
What? The breasts were clapping?
No,
because
just
they were
her
too
in
rock
general
solid.
clapped.
Yeah, she was... Yeah, the face.
Yeah, when you
wasn't
come
great.
to a session, you look like you've been pulled out of a bush backwards. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, but
it's
that were
like 2
plenty of
p.m.
our clients.
Yeah,
Fucking heavy sesh. I mean, I'm ready. I'm going. It's like I don't think I
Yeah,
don't
you're like, I
your
think I'm
my
going to kill
insurance
you.
policy
Yeah.
covers the fact that you're
Yeah.
high off your tits on
Oh my, we
cocaine
had
and you want
clients come back from Ibiza straight off the plane, and their
obviously
jaws
private
are
jet. Do you know what I
swinging,
mean?
and you're like, the last thing you need to do right now is exert yourself. You probably just need to go and find Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Go and release your
Swinging
sins.
jaws, grinning, eyes rolling in the back of their heads.
And you
you're
know
like,
when
really?
when a woman's like, because obviously like a lot of our clients used to be like the constant people that got blow dries,
Yeah.
and like when they think their blow dry still looks good, but they generally look like they've been pulled through a bush.
How many
backwards.
clients gave you rolled up notes as payment?
Yeah, with a bit of a
They're
crust
like,
of a
oh,
white.
sorry, ha ha ha.
Oh,
ha.
let me
Like,
just unravel this,
yeah,
and there's like
I
white powder.
hope I don't
stuck
get
to-
stopped by the police on the way home and they do a bloody drug swab because I got half a bag in my pocket.
Yeah, because you've literally.
Yeah, sticking up your nose.
Yeah, those clients. There was a lot of clients that paid us in.
And the sad reality is that's more people than normal people. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I
Like,
think he did realise. I guess the kind of
maybe
clientele.
it's just Chelsea and central London and those groups of individuals.
Yeah, I think it is, to be quite honest
But
with you.
not
Well, I
as-
think a lot of people obviously do that shit, but I'm just saying in general, I would say it was that areas because that areas are guaranteed a lot
I guess
of money.
once you also like you're living in a 15 million pound house and you've got everything
double
sorted.
that 30 million
Yeah,
quid
like
house.
and
Ridiculous.
the sky's the limit, and you're living this lavish lifestyle where you want and desire. You can get whatever you want. Then certain things stop. Tickling your fancy, and then you just got to get weirder and weirder.
Yeah, like
The amount of guys, not me in particular, but the amount of other male trainers that were propositioned by men to sleep with their wives so the dudes could watch. Do you know what I mean?
oh well, yeah, we know. a
Yeah, do
couple
you
of-
mind just shagging my missus so I can watch in the corner of the room? And you're like,
I try and explain this to like friends and stuff whenever we talk about our job or whatever, like, and nobody got it because our jobs like are so. We were so involved with people's lives, not because we necessarily wanted to. We were put into it. Like we had no fucking choice. It was like sometimes it got to the extreme where we did. Some of our clients we got on with exceptionally well, like and I can't ever speak for them, but there were others where you were thrown into situations where you were like, well, I feel like I have to do this, or I feel like I have to be along with, be supportive of this in some weird way.
everybody's
I
got
can't
a
even.
price. Everybody's got a price as well. So,
I have never met, like, I will never have met the vast majority, like, of individuals that I've come across in my career in any other way. Do you know what I mean? It's literally the job that I did.
It's a very unique job in the sense that you become very close with people, and they tend to trust you and tell you a lot of crazy shit.
Yeah,
because
like
you're
we
also
were
a
very
neutral. You're a
trustworthy. The only
neutral,
ones that I would say that
You're a neutral party, so you can give people unbiased opinions, and for most people that are like super wealthy or super well known, to a certain degree you can be sort of so irrelevant that they don't mind telling you a bunch of random shit because they know that it's. I mean, who are you gonna tell? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they realise that you train like it's not that we told anybody, but like then you train like all of their friends and their fucking
Yeah, but
family, and
also
then
a
it all
lot
becomes
of
very like involved.
Everybody's friends with everybody else, but nobody's actually each other's friend. They all just bitch about each other and then are very pleasant to each other's faces because they use each other.
Oh, there was so many times. There was
You train two ladies. One lady goes to the toilet. The other lady's like, "Shh, this chick's such a bitch. I can't believe
she's
we train."
training.
Yeah,
She's
blah
training.
blah blah. Then they come, but then she comes back. Hey, babes. So maybe on Thursday we can train together. It's like
And then maybe we can go and get an egg white scramble.
Yeah, not 2 seconds ago you were saying that you'd rather,
You
stick
think
a
that
knife
was
in your
bad,
eye.
babe? You should, like, we know that we're not going to use the language on here. Not that I wouldn't use the language. My God, people used to say horrible things about each other in those groups.
Oh yeah, of course.
I had like a sister once say to her brother, like, go and get run over. Like, fuck, I mean, there was so
crazy
much
stuff.
shit. There was so much shit. Oh my God, we should write a book.
One day. Well, you're going to do
A memoir.
A television program.
What? Do you think you're viable to do a
No,
TV
no,
program?
we've always talked about doing a
No, not
sitcom.
obviously us, like a
No, not
sitcom
us,
based
but
off
like
of
a
Jim.
sitcom based off of
I
gym.
just think there's so much in there. There's such a good storyline. There's
You've
so
got
many
so many
stereotypes.
characters in your gym, but that is universal across every single gym. It's like tiny micro like little ecosystems that have always the same repetitive individuals in there. You've got powerlifters, bodybuilders.
No, I'm talking about we should be doing a program based off of private studios with clients that we have dealt with, like stereotypes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Fuck, it would be a good program, and Carl Pilkington would definitely star in it.
Yeah, you'd always have to have the creepy gym, the guy who owns the gym, who's
I'm not
always,
going to mention the name, but
who's always a bit of a creep and or just really eccentrically weird.
Yeah, like there was this one time that I was like obviously freelancing in a studio, and the guy was like,
George got a free fingering.
"Oh my God, Mark Garlick, don't! What the fuck? Really? A free fingering? Is that what you've got to say?"
It wasn't far off.
It wasn't far off.
It wasn't far off.
So number one, the guy was like, right, so like let's get used to the space. Let's do a booty workout.
Yeah,
Number
do you know
one
what I
wasn't a
mean?
booty workout because it was an elastic band around my fucking feet. But
Yeah.
whatever.
No compound movements.
He was okay. I can't physically show you this because this is a podcast. But like between every rep, he had to tap like an arse or like a close to a boob or like something like that. And it was like he was literally like would touch you between
And
every
say,
rep
"Good
you
girl."
did. Good girl, good girl. Do you know what I mean?
Weird.
Good girl.
Weird.
Oh yes, squeeze.
Weird.
Good girl.
Weird. Weird. So
Mark's
weird.
there just watching it, and I'm like, what the fuck
Yeah,
have I
it's
got
like
myself into? Why do I have
watching
to do
some-
this shit? I'm like so much more qualified than you. You know what I mean? That this is the thing. Like, there's always got to be the creepy gym owner.
Always.
Not every gym owner. We've been gym owners.
No,
we're definitely
yeah.
not fucking
Yeah,
creepy.
not
We're the
creepy.
probably
But we're the
opposite.
new generation. We're talking about the old generation.
Yeah, the older generation of gyms. Like, let's talk about your old gym owner. Oh dear. Do you know what I mean?
Jeez, I don't even know where to start.
I don't know. Oh dear. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
That was an
also there
epitome
was a
of-
Brazilian guy who had a beautiful gym in Kensington, successful, loads of clients, doing pretty well, and
All celeb clients as well.
Just
Like,
was like, no, this is how we're gonna make money. We're gonna rob. He wanted to rob Selfridges. The guy
Such a
wanted to
classic
rob Selfridges.
Brazilian.
Yeah, ram his car into Selfridges and then like run in and steal a whole bunch of
He's
stuff.
so dumb because
And
if he had
actually
any
would like
idea.
case the joint, drive around Selfridges, come back and be like, I figured out a new way of just like, bro, what are you going on
Yeah, but
about?
what about the boss that instead of fucking asking his clients for money, he used to take vast
yeah,
amounts of
sure.
money on debits of clients,
yeah.
and these
Please
clients
can
were
I
so
have
wealthy they
your-
didn't notice to start
Yeah,
with.
that was the scary. That to me was the most
Yeah,
alarming.
it's like he's
though.
just taken 70 grand from your bank account.
Took
How have you not noticed?
75 grand.
You imagine that notification, Barclays, 75 grand. It'd be like, you're in a severe overdraft.
Overdraft.
We've declined.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, imagine just not being notified by that. Like,
Yeah, but also snakeskin salesman, do you know what I mean? Snake oil salesman, where everybody's, suave and look a certain way and they can talk a certain way.
yeah. But no, I guess people get up to
But
complete.
they don't last for very long. A lot of these guys are in the industry for 4 or 5 years and then have to shut up shop because
It's
everything
highly
falls to
illegal.
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, but and then they blame like all the staff and it all
Yeah, then
goes
it's the
tits
staff's
up.
problem. That's the staff's fault. But it's like, no, dude, it's because you're an egotistical asshole. That's why.
I do find that a lot of men in this industry are incredibly egotistical,
Yeah,
like in
because
so many ways. And
I think-
I feel like I'm a bit of a feminist on this podcast.
I think I figured out why. Because
Oh, you figured out why.
because the fitness industry, especially in London, and running a physical space, it kind of, you go through that period of being relevant, and then a new gym opens up in the same area or just down the road, and then people tend to migrate there, and then so you always see a boom and then a peak and a trough basically. And
Yeah.
when all the new studios open, all you start to get the buzz and the demand, and people, it goes to guys' heads.
But not only that, when we were like at the London peak, shall we say, of our, like, when we were training people face to face and all of that, that was the time where there weren't actually like mass amounts of studios around. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And so like if there was one and it was good and people went there that were either well known or like were glitzy, glamorous and whatever, oh my God, was it well known, and my God, did it bring in money? But then they fuck it, or something else opens, or they short
Because
themselves.
it goes to your head where you just think, I am the man, I am the peak of the industry, and all hail me.
Yeah, literally. And like, that's fine, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just keep it to yourself.
But nobody really understands, especially running a physical location with trainers and staff, is the person that's at the top with the name on their door is not training every single client, and they don't even know their clients, pretty much. Essentially, other trainers' clients, they've got no idea what their names are, who they are. The relationship is built by the people that are doing the sessions where the rubber hits the road. And
you really like your little analogies of things, don't you? When the rubber
and
hits
then
the
when dudes mistreat their staff and are dicks to their staff, and their staffs leave, and then the client base walks out the door.
Yeah.
You do that enough times, and then you've gone from, the one gym we used to do over 150 sessions a day. That's 1-to-1 sessions a day.
And this was like a studio.
And
this wasn't like
was
fucking
not
a commercial
including
gym.
classes, not including spin, not including the food. That was taking in over 60 or 70 grand a day.
Yeah, it's actually obscene though.
And you
But
can
then they
go
just
from
fuck it.
to zero.
Yeah,
Very
within,
quickly.
and then suddenly it's like in liquidation, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
whoops. That's the thing, like, retention of clients, if you're a coach listening to this, is just so important in
Yeah.
so many ways. Whether you own a gym, whether you're renting space, whether you're online coach, whether you're whatever, retention of clients is the thing that shows whether or not you're successful or not. As much as financial gain is something that we always want to see, it is that thing of being able to retain those clients, to be able to churn revenue in a way.
Correct.
Because otherwise you're constantly on the race for sales. Do you know what I mean? Then your job changes. It goes from being like, and this is what I mean, so many gyms in London now are like short selling themselves, like fucking, oh yeah, you can have 85 PT sessions for £12, and then after this you can pay me £6,000. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, do you think the client that's paying like fucking 25 quid for the whole year of your life, do you know what I mean, is then going to be willing to pay you afterwards £6,000? No, do the fucking maths. Like, there's just, people's values change a lot in gyms, in my opinion. Like,
I agree.
and especially as a female, I was definitely in the industry, and still, this industry's now become a lot more female orientated, which is good, because
but
like,
there's still
fuck.
not enough
There's-
female.
Yeah,
there's
good
not enough
ones as
female
well, people that
trainers.
actually give a fuck. Because sometimes it's very easy for not to be, like, it happens with men as well, don't get me wrong. Like, if you've got a good rig on you, like, great. But it happens with women more, where brands are like, oh my goodness, like, you'd look so beautiful in this sports bra and a pair of leggings. Like, can you put it on your Instagram? We'll pay you this, or you get that, blah, blah. And it's very easy to make money just by that and not really actually helping people. Like, fuck, I got offered so much.
You used to do it quite a lot, but you used to sell out all those sets. And
But
all
I
that
was always
stuff.
told the reason that I was given it is because I had the clientele that could buy it. So most things that I was either ambassadors for, like well-known sportswear brands or like whatever,
Yeah.
were they required me not to even necessarily post it. And obviously Instagram was quite old fashioned back then. It wasn't like the way it is now. It wasn't like paid ad, all of that. It was like, we want you to wear it when you're training clients, because clients will then go, oh, those are nice leggings, or that's a nice sports bra, or a nice hoodie. Where did you get that from? And I go, oh, there. And they literally went and bought it. So like, that's how I made like the money off of it, because obviously I was influencing influenza. Do you know what I mean? Fucking the virus. Anyway, what we're going to move on to, Mark? Just do it. Didn't really get much further into that.
Apart from taking action and being accountable to yourself, and
I think once you get into consistency,
understanding why you're doing it in the first place, and registering the feelings that you feel that make you feel a certain way, and realizing that the only way you're not going to feel that way is by doing something.
Yeah, and I think, give the analogy of like somebody that, okay, I don't want to go to the gym. And what the psychology of this, I don't want to go to a gym, so that's going to stop me doing anything. So that's a common thing.
Anything and everything. So instead, you can not go to the gym and still eat a healthy diet, or get your steps in, or read a book, or fill in the blanks. But because you don't do one thing, and it's an all or nothing approach, it stops you from doing anything.
Yeah, and I think, we all, like, time and time again, like, motivation really does drive from action. Like, it sounds like, we always wait for that moment to be motivated, or for it to fall into place, and the perfect timing, and I'm ready, and this is great. But the reality is, as we've said before, there is no perfect timing.
Can I interrupt you quickly?
Oh,
question. How often would you say you're really motivated to go to the gym?
Probably like majority of the time, every day. And you know why? Okay. Because what I do,
because
I
sometimes
enjoy.
You can...
Well, you ask me a question, then you talk over me. There's a good point, okay?
Okay, sorry.
The reason I say that is because, okay, there might be days where I might be tired, I might be stressed, or I might be during my period and just think like, what's my life? And there might be times that I feel weaker or not as strong. But like, I genuinely am always motivated to go. The reason being, because I know, one, as I've said before, it releases demons and it really helps me. Two, I like fucking what I do. Do you know what I mean?
But
and this is the thing.
What I'm trying to get at is there's a level of you kind of being like, not that you don't want to go, but there's like a little bit of resistance where you're like, not that you don't want to do it, but you might not be, even 5 out of 10. But you still know that once you do it, you're going to feel better.
Yes, but I also know that if I do something, do you know what I mean? I'm going to I like the feeling that I know that I feel strong in my sessions, and that I know if I continue doing this, that I'm only going to get stronger and better. Do you know what I mean? Or like feel better in myself. And I think that consistency of turning up, showing up, I would say that actually, maybe years ago, I didn't really necessarily maybe enjoy my training I was doing. My training's adapted a bit throughout, my career as such. It's changed tunes sometimes. And I'd say, but right now, in the past year, 2 years, 3 years, I'd probably say actually, I've thoroughly enjoyed training, like my whole programming, like what I do, how I feel. I've seen, you see huge results. Like that's, because I've been consistent with it, And I think that's the biggest thing, is I actually haven't said to myself, okay, there's days where I need to rest, of course, do you know what I mean? But I don't actually, whenever I get to the gym, I'm never like gonna half-ass it, let's just say that. Like, because I just know, right, this
but there are moments where you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Oh.
But that's not because of my training and because I don't want to go to the gym. It's because I might not have slept well, or the fact that...
But you still do something. That's the main take-home point, is that even though you might not want to do it, or you're not feeling 100% up to doing it, sometimes just doing it and...
like when you go on holiday... Or here's me talking about holiday. Oh, look at this nice holiday that I'm going on a solo one next.
You are going on a solo holiday next year, aren't you?
I might go tomorrow, Mark. You can do all the removals yourself of this house. Can you imagine? You'd have a hissy fit. You'd have to call me all the time just to check where your things are. Oh, my days.
Oh, my days.
Oh, my days. Oh, my
You
days.
literally leave the house and I can count to 10 before you text me.
That's such a lie.
That's the truth.
Right, I'm going to leave now, okay? And I'm not going to text you for 10 years.
Okay.
Honestly, I
I'd
don't
only
need your
be
number.
that lucky.
I hope you... But, like, no, I think in general, like, if you go on holiday or you're going out for... This is a prime example. You're on holiday, you've gone to breakfast and you've gone to the gym in the morning and none of your family have. There's this whole thing of like, yeah, I've been to the gym this morning. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of that proud thing. Like, you always know when you've done something, you've got to talk about it. And exercise and what you eat are two things that are like literally in every conversation, like, or what you don't eat or what you've missed out or whatever like that, because it's that thing where you're proud of it. And I think like when you go to like a brunch, you're like, oh yeah, girls, like I went to the gym this morning, and it's like, you're proud of it. So like, obviously there's reasons why you must enjoy it. So there's reasons why you always need to be consistent with it. I just think that like movement's one, nutrition's obviously the other. And like, I just think with everything you do, like just getting started, like with just doing something is going to reap the most rewards in you being, the more you do it, the more consistent, the more motivation. Like consistency is what brings motivation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Consistency and
enjoyment, I guess.
Yeah, you just got to find value in what you're doing.
You're not always going to enjoy fucking going in a dieting phase. Jesus, nobody does. But
no,
there's
but you don't necessarily have to be in like a dieting phase. You could just be eating better or trying to, once you understand portion sizes, maybe trying to be more intuitive or just make healthier choices.
Yeah, but we know our thoughts on intuitive eating.
Yeah, we discussed it in a podcast, but like, you know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I think like, look, we can always see the small results in this, but if you've got a goal at the end of the day and you're being put off by, you know, not doing something about it, then like
or it's like the goal's so big, it feels super daunting. So if you're like needing to lose tons of weight and you're like, I need to lose 27 kgs, you know, and you haven't lost 1 kilo in the last 6 months, and you're like, how am I going to do this? Then, you know, breaking these things down into bite-sized chunks is a lot easier to, you know, get done and wrap your head around.
Yeah, I think, you know, when it comes to, you know, as you said, like not making the goals so big, but I also think it's one of those things of like not saying like, you know, making very small excuses as to why you can't do something. Sure. We are the kings and queens of excuses. Like, oh, I've got a barbecue on the 27th and it's fucking the 2nd of the month. I don't think I can start doing this because the barbecue is going to fuck it up. It's like the barbecue. If you looked at a calendar and you marked 4 to 6 inconsistent days where you went over your calories, you didn't do something, that is far more consistent over the 30-day period than you would ever have been with not starting it. So it's about imagining like, you know, those 4 days out of the month or 5-6 days you're not adherent and you don't do things that are matching your goals, you know, you're still being consistent in the long and the greater scheme of things. So it's just important to remember that when it comes to, you sat there thinking, how the hell do I start? And as we always say, like, if you need that starting point, you need accountability and you need a plan in place, then that's when a coach comes into play. If you do need a coach, you know,
cough,
you know who
cough.
you're listening to. Cough, cough, don't cough. That's gross. Anyway, guys, bit of a mix today. We will...
Bit of a variety.
Bit of a mix. It's like what Mark's DJ app was like on the phone.
Not next time, but at some point we're going to have a couple bars that are going to bring us into the...
Next time we're going to be in our new house, hopefully unpacked and hopefully not super fucking stressed.
Georgia's very excited to be returning back to her county of birth.
Oh my God, you're so wrong. I wasn't born there.
You were raised.
Right, and also, I don't know why you're speaking for me. I haven't said that. I haven't said that I'm excited to return. I just said that I need to get out of the shits that I'm in now.
Do you think when we go back, people recognise you?
Oh, fuck off, Mark. We're not moving back to where I was brought up. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God, there she is.
Oh God, do you know what? You're a prick. You know what I mean? Because nobody would do that in you in Zimbabwe. They just look at you.
No, they wouldn't, because
You're the what?
I am nobody.
And on that note, Mark's a nobody. Stay tuned for episode 16 coming soon. And if you need us, you know where we are. Chat soon, guys. Bye.